What's up, Scrappy peeps? It's Adele from Inkie Quill, and we're diving into some mixed media today with this cheeky little monkey. I was feeling very colourful. It's not often that I reach for the multicoloured papers voluntarily. I had this pack from the Let's Stay Home Pink Fresh Studio collection, and in it are a lot of colourful papers. If you're an OG inklet, you'll know my slight aversion to rainbow multicoloured things, but I thought, hey, let's just go a bit wild. So originally I did consider doing something with this cut apart, but I'll save that for a different layout. I really wanted to get the mixed media working today, so I decided not to do that, umming and ahhing. And I had picked a blue paper, which I really enjoyed. That one, I've already put it to the side. I grabbed the heart, and I wasn't quite sure. The good thing, I guess, was that these two photos in particular didn't have a dominating colour in them. They were both quite neutral. We're both wearing, I think, navy blue, and which reads a bit black on camera, and one of the photos is black and white, which is the best way to play with mixed media, I think. I feel like when you use a black and white photo, it just opens the doors up to any colour that you want to use. And you can see here I'm having a bit of an indecisive moment. Do I do this one? Do I do that one? Or do I bring in the third one? I was contemplating maybe doing the hearts with the blue paper as a border, but in the end I decided to go with the hearts, and I'm glad I did because I love the way that the final page came together. When I started making this page, I had no freaking clue where it was going. I didn't know what I was going to do, except that the two photos were going to be somewhere in the middle of the page, and I decided to grab some mixed media. I don't know what I was doing with my thing there. I grabbed some clear gesso, and I'm using that to put all over the page just so that my page is primed, and that when I use some wet media on it, it's not going to be sucked into the page and make the paper go all splotchy. So usually if you're starting mixed media, I would recommend starting off with white gesso. I feel like you can do the most with white gesso, but if you can, clear gesso is a really valuable tool to have in your scrappy stash, particularly if you like working with pattern paper backgrounds, because then you can add the clear gesso and still keep the backgrounds without covering them up. So I've grabbed my acrylic inks, which I think are my number one favourite medium to use. I just love how easy they are, and they're just a real fun time. As you can see, I've grabbed a very sophisticated paint palette, aka some plastic packaging that was meant to be in the bin that I may have pulled out of my bin actually, and I'm using that to give my plastic packaging a second life, because Lord knows there's a lot of plastic packaging in our scrapbooking products, which can be a little bit frustrating sometimes when you're going through a lot of them. But I sprayed my gessoed background with a water bottle first, and the reason why I did that is that I wanted the colours to be quite soft and kind of blend in a little bit, and I didn't want those harsh lines around the outside. I enjoy that. I hope I don't have to explain that every time, but I just cannot say those words without singing those lyrics. I'm adding a bit of extra water, and you've got to be a bit careful here, because sometimes you can either mud up your colours or you can make your page a bit too wet, because I've definitely done that before. Even though there is the gesso over this page, the paper still does not like water, and it can warp. As you can see here, my paper's getting a little bit wrinkly, a little bit warpy, and it can cause the paper to do things that you don't exactly want it to. So I've dried my paper off, and I've also, you can see it was warping quite badly, so I stuck it to the back of just a spare piece of cardstock that I had lying around, and that really helped flatten the page out. And I think that when you do something so wet on typical scrapbook paper, you just got to prepare yourself for the warping. And I always like to, if I have something that comes in the mail that has a small thin cardboard like backing sheet to keep it straight, I keep a stash of those in my craft room to reuse for situations like this when some of my pages need straightening out. I've got my 2 photos, and I definitely needed a white border to make them pop against that background, which is all dry now. And I love the softness. If I hadn't have added that water, it would have been a lot harsher you could see that there were brush strokes, whereas the water just softens everything up. And here I am stabbing my glue, as I seem to do in every video. One day, that glue has lasted for a long time. I have been stabbing the top of that glue to make it work for quite a while. It's surprising how much glue is held in that bottle. I feel like it's a bit like a magical, Mary Poppins glue that never stops, never runs out. I say that now and I've totally jinxed myself, and if I go to record something tomorrow, I'll definitely run out. I can guarantee it. So then I grabbed this red paper. So this was a paper that I made over on Patreon and included as a printable 1 month. And this was the original copy that I had in my stash. And I thought, hey, use it up instead of looking at it because it's too pretty and you don't want to use it. And I've obviously sped this up quite a lot, but I just hand cut out a whole heap of hearts, and then I'm adding doodly borders just to define them a little bit more, because there is a lot of going on in the background of this one. They really did need that black line to just define their edges. And once I have outlined all of the hearts, I'm proud of myself because quite often I would wait until they're stuck on the page and then decide they needed outlining. And so I'm very happy that I remembered to outline them beforehand, because it's a whole lot harder to do once they're actually stuck on the page. So I started off with the biggest one first, and I'm using some craft foam to bump that up and to pop that in the corner, I do believe. Let's see where I stick it. Yes, in the corner there. And whenever I do pages that have a bit of a jaunty angle on the photos, I always think of Kitty Scrapper whenever I say jaunty angle, because she used to say it in her scrapbooking videos all the time, and I love her accent. And so I always think of her. And so I put the photos on a slight jaunty angle. I didn't want to be too jaunty, but just a little bit of a quirky fun, hey, we're pulling silly faces, cute kind of moment. Oh, that made no sense. I've got this sticker sheet, which I've been using the cardstock stickers from this collection actually in the next few project life videos, I think, that will come up on the channel. I've been trying to use up the flat stickers, and this was a very travel-y themed collection, and we don't do travel a lot, and so I decided to use the Oh Happy Day for this particular page. And I've got a plan, peeps. It looks very dark, and you can't really read it right now, but I do have a plan. But first I need to stick down all of these hearts, which is a little bit fiddly, so I have sped it up quite a bit for you so that you don't have to watch me stick them all down in real time. I decided to use a mixture of craft foam and then just normal adhesive as well. I stuck down the craft foam ones first because I could then tuck the other ones that were just flat underneath and kind of slide them underneath. So you can see I'm coming in here with my glue stick and just sticking those down. And then we got a blackout. So I had to come back the next day and finish this page off. It's just the joy of filming. Oh, and what do you know, filming this voiceover, I can just hear a neighbour has turned on a jigsaw or some loud machinery thing. Oh boy, it just all happens when you want to film and do all the things. But yes, I added my hearts the next day because, as you can see, without my hearts, my room is extremely dark and I definitely can't film without them. Also added in a few little glittery hearts and stars just to add an extra texture to the page. And then I've got my title. So once all of the hearts are down, I've grabbed a really thick white paint pen. This is the Sharpie one. And I'm colouring over the top. Now these letters are foam, but they have like a cardstock top to them. So they're very easy to draw over the top of. And I did end up doing 3 coats of the white paint pen and drying it really, really well in between those coats, because if they're wet and you go over them, it does actually scrape the paint pen away and you're back at square one. So really make sure that those are all dry before you do anything else. Trying to figure out what else this page needs. I felt like it needed something down the bottom, but there's already all of those hearts, and I didn't want to really compete with too many other embellishments. But because the background is gessoed, it's really, really gritty and difficult to write on. So I thought adding a label would be a great way to add a little bit of journaling and also tie in some of the purpley colour that's in the background there. So I'm adding this long one and kind of slipping it under that heart, which I, thank goodness, did not stick down properly, so I could slide it under there. And then I've gone somewhere. Where have I gone? Oh, I'm back. I've got some of my tiny word strips from some of my Inkie printables, and I'm just slipping a couple of those in just to, you guys know I love a good tiny word sticker. And most months I include some tiny word strips on part of the collage sheet for you guys to print off and enjoy. That's over on Patreon if you're interested in more about that. I decided I needed another pop of black because the black in that black and white photo is quite a lot. That sentence came out very badly. That did not make proper English sounding words. I can't even speak. Oh, there's a lot of dark in that photo. The black and white is a big contrast between the pastiness of my face and the black or navy of Archie's shirt and our couch. And so I wanted another pop of black to tie in with that black. There we go. I got my words out properly. Also going to do a bit of journaling down here, and I added some stamping up the top there because I do love a good roller stamp, and this page is pretty much done. I'm trying to figure out if it needs a doodly border, but I'm deciding to procrastinate from making that decision, and I'm doing some little black hearts as well because that ties in the third pop of black. So you got the shirt, the little tiny word, and the hearts. All right, peeps, I hope you enjoyed this bonus video. Oh, I put this bonus video up because it's Archie's birthday next week. What? He's turning 4. Where has that gone? But yes, it's his 4th birthday next week, and so I thought I'd give you a bonus video to celebrate this little cherub. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.